Now, our next presenter is something of an overachiever, if you like. I'm told she originally wanted to be president of South Africa. So what did she do? She went to the University of London and got a PhD. To be president of South Africa, I think. You see where I'm going with this? It was the writer Peter Lawrence who said, "An economist is an expert who will know tomorrow why the things they predicted yesterday didn't happen today." Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage Thabi Leoka.
I don't know if Bongani read my speech because I don't remember telling him about wanting to become the president, and I do have that in my speech. So I occasionally run marathons, only occasionally, but I do. And being identified as a change maker feels like being given a medal at the 10-kilometer mark while still huffing and puffing and having thoughts of giving up. So I'm honored to be here, to be part of this conference, speaking to people that I've always admired and having those that I revere listen to me. So education has played a significant role in my life. I did my first 3 degrees at Wits University, and my first degree was a BA Law. I did law because I wanted to become the president of South Africa. So I did from the University of Witwatersrand, not LSE. And this was when Nelson Mandela was the president. So the standards were pretty high. Unfortunately, I found law lectures boring and slow. We were taught Roman Dutch law and customary law, and all I wanted was to become this hard-hitting, well-dressed Ally McBeal type lawyer. But that meant that I had to sit through 90 minutes of customary law and Roman Dutch law. So obviously I was never going to be a lawyer. So I added economics as an elective because it made a lot of sense to me. Economics is the study of how society use scarce resources to produce valuable commodities and to distribute them amongst different people. I could apply this to just about every aspect of my life. Economics borrows from multiple sciences. For example, behavioral economics borrows from psychology and history to analyze how past experiences may shape expectations about the future. So I got a first-class pass for both my honors and my masters. And when you get a distinction, the university gives you money. Because I only attended my undergraduate graduation ceremony, I only knew about this money due to me 17 years later. So I actually only collected my check from Wits in February 2016. So after my master's, I worked at Investec Asset Management, and then I left South Africa to study at the London School of Economics towards a PhD. This is in 2001. The LSE produced about 40 heads of states and 2 female presidents, including the current president of Taiwan. It also has produced 18 Nobel Prize winners. So I was on track to becoming the president.
South Africa faces an ongoing youth unemployment crisis, but as many employers struggle to fill the vacancies that are available, it's clear the problem is bigger than just a shortage of jobs. These are the views that we will share now by macroeconomics, policy and governance economist Dr. Thabi Leoka. Dr. Leoka, good evening to you and welcome to the program. Thank you very much for your time.
I promised you a conversation with Dr. Thabi Leoka. The Business Day is reporting this morning that this celebrated economist and business person has been caught up in a scandal over misrepresentation of qualifications, right? They are reporting that they have it on good authority that Leoka, who serves on the boards of several companies, including Anglo-American Platinum and MTNSA, actually does not hold a PhD in economics from the London School of Economics, as she claims. Remember, she has actually held various positions, even in government. President Cyril Ramaphosa in 2019 appointed her to the Presidential Economic Advisory Council. The same year, he appointed her to the Commission of Inquiry into the Public Investment Corporation. She was appointed by the Finance Minister to review even the zero-rated products in order to support the poor and vulnerable in the country after the increase in VAT. So she joins us now on the line just to set the record straight. Thabi, thank you for making time for us. Good morning.
Good morning, Clement, and thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you for staying up. You're in New York, and it's about, About 2 a.m. or so now?
20 past 2 in the morning.
Let's get straight into it. Have you misrepresented your qualifications?
Thanks for the question, and the answer is a straight no.
So to be clear then, you insist that you hold a PhD in economics from the London School of Economics, right?
Absolutely.
The Business Day is reporting that they contacted a spokesperson of the university who says that, and I'm going to quote here, "We have checked our files and can find no record of Thabi Leoka being awarded a PhD from LSE." How do you explain that?
So what happens is that they would generally call the school registrar, because I did the same when I was asked by initially Daily Maverick. And they would say, we're looking for, let's say as an example, to verify John Smith. And the university would check for John Smith in economics and they wouldn't find John Smith. But actually, I did economic history and economics, and they didn't use my full name. So that person would be John Smith Williams. And without using the right names, the school wouldn't then verify or confirm a name that is incomplete or the name that is not in their system. Again, this is why it's always helpful when you are contacted before a story is written, and so that you can also assist, which is what happened with the Daily Maverick. That's really what happened.
So what names should we ask for then? So let's say I want to check with the London School of Economics if you do indeed hold a PhD from the school. What names do I check with?
Yeah, so the names I changed my names, and I can give them to you offline, but I did change my name.
Right, back with you here on In Focus. Economist Thabi Leoka resigned from 2 boards yesterday amid a controversy over her doctorate qualifications. Impala Platinum Mining Group issued a statement reading that Leoka quit as board member to attend to her health. A few hours later, it emerged that she also stepped down from the MTN Group as a board member there. The 44-year-old is at the center of a qualifications scandal after media reports emerged last week that she lied about holding a PhD from the London School of Economics. While she insists that the doctoral degree was obtained with the London School of Economics, the institution disputes the claim.
The rapid rise of Thabi Leoka to companies that were linked to President Ramaphosa, such as MTN and Remgro, and her appointment to key government boards, commissions and presidency should have caught our eye. Leoka was weaponized, elevated and promoted into a litany of boards by companies and business people who funded and were linked to the CR17 campaign. It was therefore not a coincidence when President Ramaphosa and Pravin Gordhan appointed her to serve as a commissioner of the Public Investment Corporation, where she was weaponized to destroy Dr. Iqbal's survey. She was also appointed as a board member of SA Express, where she also served as an acting chair of that board. It was not another coincidence that with Minister Pravin Gordhan, they paved the way for the sale of South African Airways to Takotso Consortium, whose largest equity stakeholder is Rupert-owned Remgro, where Leoka served as an executive director and board member. The extent of Thabi Leoka's influence on our economic system, privatization of our SOEs and discourse was well crafted, and we cannot also discard the corruption and government deals that were facilitated by through Thabi Leoka, who was used by the establishment, President Ramaphosa and Pravin Gordhan as a scholar and expert to justify the capture of the state by CR17 funders. There is no scholarly work from Thabi Leoka. She didn't contribute to any knowledge production in economics, yet she sat on some of the biggest white-owned controlled boards where even the most seasoned black economists, male or female, could never dream of sitting in. She was a useful tool and another certified black graduate who was used to promote the interest of white business and neoliberalism. More sadly, she was used to destroy lives, and this is a crime she will never pay an account for. Here was a black woman, who was postured as a doctor and an expert who at every given opportunity would propagate for the sale of our SOEs, which she characterized as burdened, better off, privatized. She played her role very well and was extremely believable, but little did South Africans know she had handlers behind her who would one day destroy her because they always knew who she was. Besides the fake qualification, Thabi Leoka never presented herself as a scholar but would always regurgitated what was already said in the mainstream media and what was peddled by the establishment. Hence she was made a spokesperson where she used her PhD to peddle the state capture narrative, which she used to deceptively qualify the necessity and urgency for privatization of our state-owned entities. Thabi Leoka was vicious on how she peddled the state capture narrative around Jacob Zuma and was brutal as a commissioner and spokesperson of the PIC Commission of Inquiry, where she was appointed by President Ramaphosa in 2018, where she and her fellow commissioners used their powers to create a basis to destroy companies linked to Dr. Iqbal's survey. We must not mourn for Thabi Leoka. She signed a Faustian pact with the devil, and her contract enabled her to have everything she could ever dream of in terms of stature, a table with whiteness and riches, but we know the pact with the devil has never ended well. Her only way out is to tell the truth and apologize to those whose lives she destroyed in her quest for power and prestige. It is also unfortunate that a black woman permitted herself to be used in a classical CIA intelligence operation which used corruption as the center narrative for regime change and to ultimately weaken the state as a means to sell state-owned assets to private hands. Consequently, we must not allow this story to die, because underneath its layers are many layers which all collude around the CR17 campaign and the real capture of the state. Fapano Fasher is a researcher and policy developer. The views expressed do not necessarily reflect the views of IOL or independent media.
It seems the Thabi Leoka qualification scandal has grown some legs. Leoka, who served on boards of JSE-listed companies including Amplats, MTN and most recently Remgro, is accused of lying about holding a PhD from the London School of Economics. She also serves on President Cyril Ramaphosa's Economic Advisory Council. Yesterday, a Business Day report revealed how the institution had no record of Leoka's PhD. While her master's from the prestigious institution can be found, there is no indication of a PhD. But she insists she does hold the qualification, even promising to provide proof. But over 24 hours later, nothing has been released to the public. Today, the Daily Maverick entered the ring, confirming their own investigation into Leoka's PhD and denying that they'd stopped their own probe, as she had claimed. At the same time, Leoka's master's in economic history has raised questions on whether she's an economist or a historian. An interesting development is if she lied about her PhD, Leoka may be facing some jail time. The National Qualifications Framework Amendment Act, which was passed last year, stipulates that if a person is found to have falsified their qualifications, they face a prison sentence of up to 5 years, a fine, or both. Eyewitness News.
What do you think? Is Miss Leoka a doctor or a scam? Is the mainstream media using scammers to control the narrative in favor of white monopoly capital? Please leave your comment below. Links to full video sources will be shared below.
Do not forget to like, subscribe and turn on the notification bell.